We have an exciting day. My name is Melissa Roberts. I'm the Executive Director for Birthplace of Country Music. I have been with the organization since December, and I'm really enjoying my time here with everybody, getting to know everyone. So a little bit of housekeeping. We will take interviews and questions after the press conference in the little room over here in front of the window by the radio station, which is a great backdrop. And I'd like to ask all of the BCM staff and volunteers to hang out afterwards so that we can make sure that we get a group photo. So that's all the housekeeping that I have. But I do want to share this year, the Birthplace of Country Music celebrates the 10th anniversary of WBCM Radio Bristol, which WBCM broadcasts daily from our studio right here as a living exhibit in the museum. Radio Bristol completes the trifecta of Birthplace of Country Music's mission to perpetuate, promote, and educate audiences worldwide on the history of the 1927 Bristol session recordings and their legacy. And they are still making an impact on the music of today. So we're gathered here for a couple of special announcements and to unveil a very cool new artifact related to Radio Bristol that will join our collection at the museum for the next year. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Chris Trulson, Program Director of Radio Bristol.
Thank you, Melissa. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? It's right, 10 years of Radio Bristol. It's pretty amazing we've gotten here. In August of 2015, just 1 year after the grand opening of the Birthplace of Country Music Museum, Radio Bristol went live on air thanks to the help of several community partners, including Eastman Credit Union and our community at large, which played a very important part in our crowdfunding campaign, where we raised almost $150,000 to initially launch the station. Since then, the station's evolved and blossomed into what it is today. What started as an exhibit inside the museum, complete with vintage console from our neighbors at WCYB. That console actually was used on the original Farm and Fun Time, and we'll talk more about that soon. But we were able to build a schedule of original programming that focuses on the music and history of our region, with that console right there front and center, playing a big part in that vision. A big, huge part of what's made Radio Bristol so successful over the years is our grouping of expert volunteer DJs that make our programming as unique as it is today. Our DJs truly know the music that we play here and the music, the history of our region and more. Each one has a specialized focus on what they bring to the airwaves. Some of the shows that make Radio Bristol the unique platform it is include many perspectives from a diversity of people and genres. Shows like Root Veritas with Luke Church highlight touring contemporary roots music artists with live and studio performances and interviews. Many of those artists come from our region. Shows like Diggin' with Big Lon, hosted by Lonnie Salyer, a record collector who specializes in collecting rare recordings from labels and companies that pressed right here in the Tri-Cities throughout the decades of the past 100+ years. Other shows like the Crooked Road Radio Hour with Bill Smith, a DJ who highlights music specifically from Southwest Virginia and East Tennessee along the great Crooked Road, Virginia's Heritage Music Trail. And there's so many other shows as well that have played such an important part in that. We've got some of our DJs here. We've got Marshall Ballou, Bop and Bailey George, Tom Netherland. Give them a big hand. As we celebrate 10 years, we're happy to announce a whole plethora of new shows, including Outside the Box with Roxanne McDaniel, a show that connects a variety of genres to country music history through the voices of our region. Also, we had to air today Lightnin' and Mango Tango with celebrated regional musician Lightnin' Charlie and A&R man Mango Mike, a show which centers around storytelling and their experience of the music industry over the years. On the 19th of April, we'll debut an edgy new gospel program with Carrie Allen called Righteous Fuzz that connects garage rock, punk, and gospel traditions. I bet you didn't know they connected, but they do. It's going to be a great show, so keep up with us on Radio Bristol's Facebook page over the next few months, where we'll be launching a whole bunch of new shows. We've got a handful of others as well that will be coming out soon. We're very proud to be a true community radio station that showcases local musicians and roots music across many genres. We're not your average radio station. We pride ourselves on the original programming to bring a deeper context through the knowledge and expertise of our on-air talent. Of course, all this on-air content can be found at 100.1 FM on the dial. You can also tune in at listenradiobristol.org or check out our mobile app as well. And we produce a ton of video content where you can find us on all the social media platforms, where we do things like the Farm and Fun Time Noon Show with Cody Norris. And that show has seen millions and millions of viewers over the past 5 years. We're really proud of that show as well. Thanks to Permatile Concrete Products for that. And speaking of Farm and Fun Time, that's why we're here today, y'all. We're here to talk a little bit about the history of Farm and Fun Time, which, of course, WCYB started that show way back in 1946. And early on in the development of Radio Bristol, one of the key central shows that we wanted to resurrect was Farm and Fun Time, being that it was so important to our community. For those who might not be familiar with Farm and Fun Time, it did originally start airing in 1946, broadcasting from the lobby of the Hotel General Shelby, which was right over by the train station. And it featured a lot of really well-known bluegrass performers and country music performers of the day, including folks like the Stanley Brothers, Flatt and Scruggs, Jim and Jesse, Mac Wiseman, Curly King, and the Tennessee Hilltoppers, and many more. Radio Bristol's Farm and Fun Time has become a signature program for our station, much like WCYB back in the day. And for those who have never seen the show, we've got a sizzle reel that Josh is going to play real quick. Real quick.
Live from the birthplace of country music, it's Radio Bristol's Farm and Fun Time.
All right. Yeah. So in March of 2020, Radio Bristol announced a partnership with Blue Ridge Public Television to start airing Farm and Fun Time on its station. And with their help, as of today, we're now on over 140 PBS channels across the country, which is pretty amazing. Thank you. In honor of our 10th anniversary, we've got some really amazing large-scale shows happening here for Farm and Fun Time, shows that are both here at Birthplace of Country Music Museum and some that are with our other partners, Paramount Bristol, including Thursday's show, the Del McCurry Band, which is going to be a fantastic one. Also, the Dead South on May 8th, which is just about sold out, and War and Treaty in June. So keep your eye out. We're going to have a lot more announcements for some really amazing 10th anniversary artists throughout the year. But that's been, seeing the growth of Farm and Fun Time over the years has been really remarkable. Not only are we able to offer a platform for regional musicians, but we're seeing an invested interest in nationally touring artists as well. So, just as WCYB did back in the day, it's just been helping to grow this region, helping to bring more focus on the music of our region, and we're thrilled to be working with WCYB on a whole lot of stuff coming up. I've got, let's see, I do want to mention, we do have a number of WCYB's staff here. We've got Dave and we've got Tony here as well. Hey guys. WCYB News recently won 13 awards at Virginia Associated Press Broadcast Awards. So big hand for them. All right, so we want to announce that WCYB News 5 has been such a wonderful community partner to BCM as a major media sponsor to Bristol Rhythm and Roots Reunion. The newsroom does a tremendous job of getting the word out to the community about our programming and BCM events around the year. Today, we're happy to announce that WCYB will come on as an official underwriter for Farm and Fun Time, partnership that will help grow our live audiences here in Bristol each month. Shows that are recorded, as I mentioned, from Paramount Bristol and here at the museum. So we want to thank them for that. And y'all, please put your hands together for everyone's favorite meteorologist, Dave Dirks.
All right, thank you all very much. It's great to be here this afternoon. I arrived at WCYB and in Bristol in 1987, so obviously I've been here long enough to remember the very first Bristol Rhythm and Roots reunion, and I always look forward to stepping out of the studio and getting on the stages to welcome folks to the reunion each year and enjoying the great music. And it just seemed like yesterday that we were reporting on the grand opening of the Birthplace of Country Music Museum and the first broadcast of Radio Bristol. So awesome. Radio Bristol, of course, a great asset to our community, giving audiences worldwide the opportunity to hear the music that this region was built upon. And I know how much Johnny Wood loved hosting that first Farm and Fun Time broadcast, and I'm sure he would be very excited to hear about this announcement this afternoon. So, on behalf of everyone at WCYB, we want to say how much we appreciate the great things BCM has done for our community and how proud we are of the work that Radio Bristol has done to honor WCYB's history through Farm and Fun Time so that it endures for future generations. And to commemorate this partnership, the station is excited to share with you an artifact from our own archives that visitors to the Birthplace of Country Music will have the opportunity to see this piece of living history. And so right now I'd like to welcome back Melissa Rogers to the podium to help me unveil it. All right. Are you ready?
Want to count down?
Yes, go from 3, 2, 1. There it is. All right, so let's say what we got here. This is awesome. This is the vintage item that you see right here is a 1954 RCA 77 DX microphone. All right. Now this microphone was used during broadcasts on WCYB radio, and guess what? It still works. Yeah. How about that? Well, the microphone has been tucked away at the station for all of these decades, and very few people have actually had the opportunity to see it and appreciate it. And we hope visitors to the museum will enjoy getting to see it up close and personal, and that it adds a new chapter in the story of our region's music history, and will give further context on the connection between WCYB and Radio Bristol. So, right now I'd like to invite Dr. Renee Rogers, Director of Birthplace of Country Music, to the podium.
Thank you so much, Dave. And thank you to everyone at WCYB for this generous loan. It's going to provide a wonderful central focus to our display about Farm and Fun Time here in this space for the rest of the year. Historical objects like this are really important to the Birthplace of Country Music Museum. They help us to tell the story of this region and to share meaningful and tangible connections to the past with our visitors. Exploring and understanding history is hugely important to how we live in the present and move forward into the future. And the museum is proud to play a part in the important preservation of Appalachian and country music history and culture. The preservation of history is integral to the museum's mission and made possible through federal and state grants, private foundations and donors, and regional and local supporters like WCYB. And we're grateful to everyone who helps us to fulfill that mission. In line with celebrating the loan of this WCYB microphone, we will be hosting a Farm and Fun Time listening party on Thursday, May 1st at 6:30 p.m., free and open to the public, to share another wonderful WCYB-related object, a radio transcription disc with several songs recorded by the Stanley Brothers and the Clinch Mountain Boys on WCYB in the 1940s and 50s. Glenn Harlow donated this disc to us in 2017. It was broken and delaminating. You could not access the music on it. But after a years-long conservation project with the Northeast Document Conservation Center and down to Virginia Association of Museums grant funding, we were able to access that music digitally, even though you could not touch the disc with a stylus. This listening party will give folks a chance to see that artifact in person, to learn about that preservation process, and to hear those songs from the early Farm and Fun Time show in all their glory. So I hope that you'll be able to join us on Thursday, May 1st. It's going to be a wonderful program. And now I'd like to welcome Chris back to wind us down.
Thank you, Renee. A big thanks to Renee and Dave and Melissa and to everybody at WCYB for not only this amazing piece of history, but also for their continued support of Radio Bristol. We truly appreciate it. And as mentioned, WCYB generously donated the vintage console that we use every day on a radio broadcast. The electronics inside were updated, otherwise it looks exactly as it did when WCYB was using it back in the 40s for their original broadcast. After the press conference, you're invited to take a look inside the station, which also serves as an exhibit here at the Birthplace of Country Music Museum. Remember to tune in to Radio Bristol at 100.1 here in the Bristol area, or listen online at listenradiobristol.org. And we hope to see you all at a 10th anniversary Farm and Fun Time show. Thanks for coming out this afternoon. We appreciate it. Pictures?